Hello everybody. In this video we're going to look at how to use Python code to create VM instances in Google Cloud Platform. As you know, automation is one of the things we focus on with this channel, and the use of cloud computing is only going to increase. So we're going to create a VM instance using Python. And first we're going to need to use pip install google-api-python-client. Once we've done that, we'll run the code which we're about to see. We're going to run it in Cloud Shell. So Cloud Shell is actually something you can access from within Google Cloud Console. So if you sign up for $300 free trial, you will be able to access Google Cloud Platform, and from Google Cloud Platform you can access Google Cloud Shell. So yeah, that's where you can get the API, and here is where you can get my code from. So if you don't want to refer to all of the Google documentation and you just want to cut straight to the chase, then go to this page on my GitHub repository. What else is important to remember? Make sure you're familiar with compute, as it's easy to miss. Compute equals googleapiclient.discovery.build, then in brackets, compute in quotes, and then comma, and then v1 in quotes. You'll need to use that as part of the function that we're going to write, so you must have that for this to work. It's not that clearly listed in the documentation, so it took me I don't know, 10-15 minutes to actually find that and get it working. But once it's working, it's there for good, and I say you won't forget it, because it's one of those things that catches you out, and once you've put it in, it works, and you'll always remember that from there on. After that, after we've made some instances, as you can see from the Google documentation, they've done similar to what I'm doing, or vice versa. I'm doing similar to what they've said. So authorizing, if you've got a Google account, you'll just have to go to the browser and authorize to say that you can actually work on the cloud platform. Listing instances, I've commented that out in my code at the moment because we're interested in adding an instance. If you list an instance, you'll get just a big long load of Python dictionary, and you can just use pprint, prettyprint to view that. You can also add instance metadata, which I'm not really going to cover here too much, but what you can do is you can add startup scripts. So if you're creating an instance, you can actually start it up and have Apache run to start with, and you can actually set up a default hello world, or more than hello world probably. Next, deleting an instance, we'll cover that, and then running the sample, which we'll show you, or I will show you shortly, and then cleanup. Cleanup is very important, because otherwise you could get charged on your trial account and use up some of your credit, which would then just mean that you can't do other good stuff. So yeah, add the code to delete an instance. We'll do that at the end.
Don't forget
if
to
we've
subscribe.
got time. Delete
Subscribe.
an instance. So there you see, you pass to this function, you pass compute, which is what we just looked at in the yellow. Project, which you can just get from the drop-down menu. Zone, which depending on where you are in the world will be specific to where you are, typically US Central or Europe West or something like that. And yeah, then the name, that's the name of the instance. So if I'd made instance-1, then I'd be putting instance-1 in here. Return compute instances delete, and then these three variables from there get put into 1, 2, 3 just here, and then executes the delete. So if you'd like to see some code, which I'm probably why you're here, let's go across and look at the code. Okay, so I'm on my Google Cloud Platform trial account. I've got my default project, which is Mickey. and project info. So you may want to just keep a notepad file handy or post-it note if you want, just with these details, because you do refer to them quite a lot. Project name, project number, project ID is probably the one you'll always need to keep using. Before we actually go and create any more instances, let's just go and look at compute engine VM instances and just check what we've got there at the moment, just to prove that we are actually creating some new ones. Just loading. There we go, we've got 2 at the moment, so they're both stopped. I'll try and remember to stop them so that I don't burn up all my credit. So then activate Cloud Shell. And then once that's, I've set the font to be a bit bigger here, just so you can see. What I will also do is, you might have seen me do this in a previous video, export PS1 equals, and I'm just setting my prompt to take up less of the screen. So you see, it's not going halfway across the screen. Right, so let's just do, I've given the game away. What you're already seeing is instance creator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open instance creator in the built-in, it looks like VS Code. It's basically an Eclipse based editor, which is obviously also what VS Code is built upon. So edit instance creator.py, enter. And this is the code that I've taken from the Python documentation on that Google Cloud Platform documentation page, and I've modified it slightly. So what you would see on the documentation page is actually just the function. So to run the function, you actually need to pass it some. You need to pass it compute, project, zone name, and a bucket. So this is pretty much the code which you would get from the documentation. And just try and make the font a bit bigger for you, hopefully. Is that good? Yeah. So import argpass, import OS, import time. The first time you run it, if you're starting from scratch, you won't have this installed, so you'll need to run that. Obviously, just run that on the command line. And then I've just left a comment there. Import Google API client.discovery. So it's using that from this. From 6.moves import input. Read a string from standard input. The trailing new line is stripped. Right, next. Compute equals Google API client.discovery.build. So it's creating an instance of this, and a compute instance, and it's version 1. The code will have list instances, which feel free to run that. I've already done it and got some, because if I run that in a moment, I will just get my 2 instances, which we just looked at in the GUI. So not going to run that now. This is the crux, or the important part of the project, and all of this from line 23 down to line 88 is as per the Google documentation, other than I've commented out the metadata bit. The metadata bit is obviously optional, and it effectively runs startup scripts. So you could have, as I say, you could have Apache, Hello World, and so on running there. 90, return compute instances, insert project zone body. So this is the good bit. Create create instance. So compute is equal to, I know I keep talking about it, but it's quite important. Without this, it won't work. So compute, you need to add that in because that may not be, when you look at the function on it by itself, it won't have that. So to use this function, you need to run the function name followed by compute, and then Mickey 331609, that is, if I click here, that's the ID of this project. So project, imagine if you work in, I don't know, a managed services provider and you've got customer A, customer B, customer C. So customer A, customer B, customer C, customer D, and then it adds a unique number after the end. So that would then be customer A dash, and then it's I think it's a randomly generated number. So a project, it could actually be a customer name, or it could be what could it be? If you're a project, you can have a higher level above a project, which is a folder, and above that you get an organization. So if you worked for, say, I'm trying to think of a company that makes different products. Yeah, if you worked for Volvo, that the organization would be Volvo, and then the project could be lorries, cars, diggers. Right, cancel that. Europe West 2A. So if you want to find what other options are available for that, you can just go to, I think you can do it from the command line, gcloud compute regions list. If you want any more info, there's a cheat sheet which is pretty useful, so have a look at that. Right, there, let's call this Python VM. It's going to be the name of the VM, and PyBucket's going to be the name of the bucket. So, right, without further ado, let's run the code. So let's just click here, run Python file in terminal. And that ran really quickly. So I don't know if that works or not. Let's just go and have a look. And if it's not, we'll fix it. So Python -VM we're looking for. And that didn't seem to do anything, so let's go back again. That was me trying to find it again. It's because I'm trying to run this in quite large font for this video. So there we go. The instance is running, Python -VM, Europe West 2A. So let's just, I'm going to manually stop that. That error message is stopping me from reaching the little slider to make this big again. Open terminal, will it let me? That message is exactly in the wrong. Okay, instance stopped. Let's while I remember, let's just delete that then. So deleting Python -VM, and it's done it to me again, hasn't it? There we go. Right, back to Open Editor. Let's just have a quick once over with this code, because all I've really done is just copy and paste it and then show you how it works. So let's just consider what it's actually doing. So image response equals compute.images get from family. So that's a method of compute, and compute is comes from here, which is Google API Client, Discovery, Build, Compute. Project, Debian Cloud. So you've got project and family. So all of these things are these are options that you get when you try and create. If you try and create a VM instance manually, you would get these options in the drop downs. Machine type, zones, and then it's just putting in the zone. So the zone that we pass to it, so you've got percent and then zone, it's transplanting that into here. So machine type is zones, Europe West 1, machine types N1 standard. It's also doing something here, startup script. Yeah, that was where you can put your own startup script. Let's get rid of that. Just config name, machine type, which it's just got from here, machine type, and name you've passed to it in the function. Specify the boot disk and the image to use as a source. So boot, true, auto delete true, initialize params. So that's saying if you delete the VM, delete the boot. Auto delete true. Specify a network interface with NAT to access public internet. So you got one-to-one NAT, name external NAT. So that's letting the instance access the internet, well, access the outside world. And then we've got allow the instance class cloud storage and logging. So read and write, logging, write. And then the metadata. So that's where you can pass it the startup script name. And for the sake of this, I'm not going to do that. So let's just remove all that as it's more than we need. So let's run this again and we'll change it to Python VM2. We'll just run it again, check it still works after I've, it's shown me an error. Probably because I just deleted some. Yeah, okay, why is that instance crazy? Oh, I've got a little red. Yeah, missing a bracket. You see I had a little red thing there, so it tells me what line number the problem was on. So let's go for Python, right, Python VM3. We'll add this in and then check it, and then if it's all present and correct, then we'll just do the code to delete it. And what we need to do here potentially is make the font smaller and then do refresh. And there we see. So refresh is also another important thing to remember. You can often think that something's not worked and then you haven't done refresh and you just need to do refresh and then it will all be good. So yeah, let's run the delete instance or add in the delete instance code. So next, let's in fact, let's let's copy and paste this. So copy all that and we'll write some new code. So file, new file, and this will be delete instance underscore delete.py. Paste that in and go back to my it's not PowerPoint, is it? It's Google's own slideshow, I think it's called. There we go. So I think if that's the function, and to run it, I think we just need to do compute, and I'm just going to get the other details, the project and the zone and the other bits from this file. Copy, paste. This is where you can put the you could put if name equals main and all that. So let's just check before we run this. Too many positional arguments. Oh, compute, project, zone, name. It's not, there's no bucket there, is there? Better? Happy? Yeah. Right. Just check, it's still running. So we've got Python 3 there. And in fact, I wonder if I can run it and keep an eye on, there we go. So if we, just above my head, you see the little, I'm ducking out of the way. You see this arrow here by my head? Right, let's run it. And it has run. So if we do refresh, anything happening? No. Okay. Let's investigate that. Okay, so that appears to have not worked. So instead, let's check. It's definitely not worked. No, still running. Right, so instead, let's go back to documentation. The Google API client library for Python. If not already done, yeah, we've done all this. So we all that's cool. Google API client import discovery. Yeah. Right, let's google.com compute docs reference v1 instances delete. And let's try this. So what it's really doing is it's using service.instances.delete. And what was it doing here? It was doing compute.instances.delete. Right. Let's just make that bigger. Just gonna paste that in there and keep the bottom bit because that's useful. So let's just get that out of the way. Right. And so first thing, compute v1, that's all good. Project, so project needs to go in here. Control Z's doing something very odd. I don't know what's going on there, but let's use right click, copy. I think that's because we haven't run it yet and it's not authenticated. So I'm going to run this and see what happens. We've got some output running. Operation delete, operation running. Okay, I think this will work. So let's go and have a look. I have to click refresh. And we've got success. We've successfully deleted the instance. So apologies for the previous attempt. The previous one was using compute, whereas this was using service.instances. I'm going to have to do a bit more reading to find out exactly why that happened, but there we go. So the important thing to remember is to use compute and v1 as per creator here. Create the instance, compute instance, and then you can work with it. Whereas here we created discovery.build. Discovery.build. Actually, that's just a different name. So compute or service, call it what you want. That's just the name of the variable. So I could have called that compute there. I don't know why that's saying it has no instances. It worked. Right, I think on that note, well, I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. Thank you for watching, and if you've got any questions, drop me a line. Now, the other thing is, excuse me, the other thing is you could also, if you're going to get into this in a professional capacity, then you will also need to look at Terraform. Terraform is infrastructure as code. You might see it IAC, which is beyond what I'm going to be covering, but if you want to, then look at Terraform and you will be able to do this sort of thing without writing too much code. I'll say without writing too much code, you still actually need to understand variables and yeah, data types and so on. So without further ado, that's going to do it for this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.